Hello, my dear beloved students. How are you? I hope that you are all fine. I am Ramappa, PGT History. Today, I am going to discuss one very important chapter from 10th Standard History, Nationalism in India. This chapter is very important chapter. In this chapter, particularly, we will be going to discuss non-cooperation movement, civil disobedient movement. Why these movements were organized? Who were the Indians participated in this movement? Why did they participate? What was the effect of these movements on Indian national movement? For all these questions, we are going to find out the answers. Before discussing all these topics, let us try to understand first the meaning of nationalism. What is nationalism? What do you understand by the term nationalism? Nationalism is a feeling of oneness of the country, irrespective of caste, color, creed, language, religion, and region. Nationalism is a feeling of collective belongingness. Nationalism is a sense of collective identity. This collective identity, this feeling of oneness of the country was not there in India among the most of the people until 17th century. Only after the 18th century onwards, the feeling of nationalism slowly, gradually began to be spread out across the nation. How the First World War helped in the growth of national movement in India. National movement in India. As you know all children, First World War also helped in the development of national movement in India. As we know all, First World War was broke out in between two blocks of nations. That was Axis powers and Allied powers. England fought in favor of Allied powers. During the time of the war, England was required of lot of money and other resources to continue the war. To meet the expenditure of the First World War, it mainly concentrated on India and demanded a lot of money and soldiers from our country, India. Custom duties were raised, income tax was introduced. Custom duty already it was there. What was the meaning of custom duty? If the tax was imposed on export and imports, that was called as a custom duty. It was already there, but British government further it increased the custom duty. And again, and another one new tax was introduced, that was income tax, my dear students. Villagers were called upon to supply soldiers to British army. Forced recruitment in rural area caused widespread anger among the Indians. During the war years, the prices of commodities increased, doubling between 1913 and 1918 in our country. Then in 1918 and 1920 and 21, crops in this country was utterly failed and many parts of India resulting in acute shortage of food. This was further accompanied by an influenza epidemic. According to the census of 1921, 12 to 13 million people perished as a result of famines and epidemic. People of India hoped that their hardships would end after the war was over, but that did not happen. Then the people understood that the cruelty of the British government and decided to organize themselves and launch united struggle against the British government. My dear students, in this way, First World War also helped in the growth of national movement, in the growth of a feeling of nationalism among the Indians. Now, the arrival of Gandhiji and the notion of Satyagraha. As we know all, my dear students, Gandhiji came to India in 1915 from South Africa. Soon after arrival of Gandhiji, he decided to fight against the British through his idea of Satyagraha. What was the meaning of Satyagraha? What was meant Satyagraha according to the Gandhiji? Satyagraha was a non-violent method of mass movement against injustice. The idea of Satyagraha emphasized the power of truth and need to search for truth. It suggested that, it means Satyagraha suggested that if the cause was true, if the struggle was against injustice, then physical force was not at all necessary to fight against the oppressor. Without seeking vengeance or being aggressive, a Satyagrahi could win the battle through the non-violence method of fighting. This could be done by appealing to the concerns of the oppressor. People, including the oppressor, had to be persuaded to see the truth instead of being forced to accept through the use of violence. By this struggle, truth was bound to ultimately trump. Mahatma Gandhiji strongly believed that this dharma of non-violence, this dharma of Satyagraha would unite all the people of Indians. So that is what Satyagraha in this chapter, my dear children, very important. Repeatedly a question was asked in the CBSE examination. Briefly discuss the notion of the Gandhiji's ideal of Satyagraha. Now next let us continue to experiment of Satyagraha in India. Soon after the arrival of Mahatma Gandhiji to India, so he decided to experiment his ideas of Satyagraha in different parts of the country. He thought that his idea of Satyagraha successfully succeeded in South Africa. He was in dilemma whether his idea was successfully succeeding or not. That was, he wanted to experimentize his ideal of Satyagraha. That was, he was waiting an opportunity to organize, to launch a Satyagraha. In 1916, he traveled to Champaran in Bihar to inspire the peasants to struggle against the oppressive plantation system. So as we know all, in 1916, in Champaran, indigo cultivators, Indian indigo cultivators were there. They were forced by the British government to grow indigo only. They were not at all ready to grow. But British government was severely punishing those who were not growing indigo. That was, they revolted against the British planters. By that time, Gandhiji went in support of the Indian peasants and organized Satyagraha and successfully organized and got so many concessions in favor of the indigo cultivators. This was the first experiment in which Gandhiji completely succeeded. And next, in 1917, he organized second Satyagraha in the Kheda districts of Gujarat. In Gujarat, large number of peasants were there. By that time in 1917, food crop was completely failed. No rain was there. Peasants were not able to give any taxes. By that time, British government pressurizing the Indian peasants to give the revenue. They requested the British government to relax the revenue collection. But British government was not at all agreeing. By that time, Mahatma Gandhiji went in support of the peasants of Kheda district of Gujarat and undertook the Satyagraha and successfully, so he succeeded. There also he got so many privileges and benefits in favor of the peasants. Next, another third Satyagraha he conducted or experimented in India in 1918. Mahatma Gandhiji went to Ahmedabad to organize Satyagraha movement amongst the cotton mill workers. As you know all, Ahmedabad so is called as a Manchester of India. There are so many cotton mills were there by that time. But whereas workers were given very less salary, working hours were very lengthy, they were exploited. At the time of the working hours, any injury took place, that workers were simply removed from the job. In this way, the owners of the cotton mill, they were consistently harassing the cotton mill workers. That was, they revolted against the cotton mill owners. By that time, Gandhiji rushed to Ahmedabad. In favor of them, he undertook the satyagraha, and lastly British government accepted all the demands of the Gandhiji. In this way Gandhiji conducted first time 3 places his idea of satyagraha and succeeded, and he got full confidence to introduce the idea of satyagraha to fight successfully against the British in India. So this concept is also very important, children, because this question is also asked often in the examination in such a way. Briefly discuss the 3 events in which Gandhiji experimented his idea of satyagraha in India soon after his arrival. I hope that you understood this concept. Next, let us move to the another one of the very important concept, Rowlatt Act and its effect. In 1990, April month, British government proposed to pass Inhuman Rowlatt Act to repress the political activities in India. Gandhiji and all other top leaders, they opposed the introduction of such inhuman law in India. Further, Gandhiji warned the British government that non-violent civil disobedience movement would be launched if Rowlatt Act was introduced. Even though, despite of united opposition of the Indian members, Imperial Legislative Council of British government hurriedly passed the Rowlatt Act in 1919. This act was very inhuman act. It gave a enormous power to the British government to suppress the political activities in India, and also this act allowed the British government for the detention of the political prisoners without trial for 2 years. They were not supposed to brought to the court for inquiry. They could be detained in the jail itself. In this way, it was very inhuman act which was introduced by the British government. As announced by the Gandhiji, immediately launched non-violent civil disobedience movement against the Rowlatt Act in the form of Hartala on 6th April 1919. After this, chains of events took place in Indian political area, and ultimately which led to the Jallianwala Bagh massacre, which took place on 13th April 1919. How Jallianwala Bagh incident took place, how Indian people they responded to the Jallianwala Bagh, how further national movement carried forwarded, and all these questions let us discuss in the next class. All the best, children. Please refer all these from the textbook. Thank you, children. Thank you very much.